Suspend your disbelief for a moment and pretend this is a suppressor height co-witness sight blocking the rear locking adjustment screws on your Vortex Viper. To get that off, we got to pull the Viper off first. So inside of your Vortex Viper box, you've got a Torx T10 wrench and a small flathead wrench as well. First thing you got to do is take your T10 and start working away at these things right here on top. These are already pre-loosened. Yours are going to have Loctite on them, so you might need to put a little force. Right now I'm just using a driver that's not supplied with a kit, but for expediency, this definitely helps out. So just pull this off gently after you get the last threads out. There's a battery underneath, so you'll probably see that sitting there. Just save that for later. And after that, dump your screws out. And you're looking for these guys, the locking adjustment screws. So with your flat key that's included with your Viper box, just loosen them by about, I'd say 3/4 of a full turn. This one's actually already a little loose. After you do that on both of them, you can start playing with the windage and elevation with the same flathead on the wrench. You're probably going to want to do that while you're shooting, so mount everything back again. Very simple, just the opposite steps of what we did before. Positive side down, facing the slide. Probably got to keep a finger underneath there. Line your screws up. You might be able to get away without Loctiting these if you're only going to be firing a couple rounds. The residual Threadlocker on the screw should be able to hold it over, but definitely don't continue shooting with the optic mounted until you have fully tightened down and added some Threadlocker to your screws. That's just temporary. So again, pretend you have a rear sight sitting somewhere there, suppressor height. Can't access those screws. But now that the adjustment settings are unlocked, you can go and twist and turn as you please while you're zeroing in your slide. Once you're done with that, take this back off, get back to those screws, and instead of tightening them as much as they were when you received it, go about a half turn clockwise. That way it'll still keep the adjustment screws fairly tight, but you'll still be able to adjust them while it's on the gun without having to remove the optic. If you feel there's any drift down the road, that's when you would have to consider taking the optic back off and locking the screws down even further.